Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Lone Wolf. Now, a few house rules, a few things to consider. For this one, we'll be using the one-page Mythic, going back to this, and I will be, of course, using my maze hack right here. So I have the reference. This is just a mod I've been working on for Maze Rats, which is the core engine rules I've been using for the Lone Wolf. Now, where we left off. We are on our way to look for Damaris's family farmhouse, her grandparents supposedly. So, as I mentioned before in my earlier episodes, this is an attempt at a RPG or role-play light approach in terms of the narrative story. I want to focus more on the mechanics, exploration of this little world we're building. I do have a tendency to get a little too into the scene as far as the dialogue and the actions, but I'm going to keep working at it. And of course, this just applies to this campaign. It is not going to be a thing I'm going to be trying to hold back on roleplay for my entire channel. Just mainly this, the lone wolf. So we are now just leaving. If I recall correctly, it's been a little bit. It's been a couple days, which to me that's like a year, because again, work has been completely occupying my mind. So I'm just trying to get the hamster wheel in my head moving. So we're on our way out of Featherwind, C5 on the hex here. Featherwind is a fortified town of a fairly common town. It is. So in the world of fantasy, we're looking at town's guard people, and we were at a tavern. We spoke with the bartender, the bar hop, sorry, the barkeep. We looked into Damaris's boarded up shop. We met two of her employees who hinted through some dialogue that she might have fled, escaped to her family, grandparents' farmhouse, southwest of the location. We got the guards interested to what we were doing, and I believe we were talking about we were going to go east. We lied to them, going east to Greystone, which is a big city right over here, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go southwest and explore the hex map further. Okay, let's go south. Next tile down. What do we got? So, we have consistency from the town itself. We know we are in the grasslands. This tile right here, F5, F6, is the haunted tree. That's where we started essentially this entire adventure. Many eons ago. No, it was just a Harry Potter style Prisoner of Azkaban tree that is enchanted and moves around and defends itself until you get in. You can find we found her hideout diary and silver locket or silver chain. So there's our character sheet right here in this little notepad. Now, let's roll to the table, or let's roll to the. I will not be using other tables. I'll be using strictly this and trying again to jumpstart my creativity for this campaign. I don't want to rely too many on tables, and I feel like I have been. So, what have we discovered? Which is funny because this is discovery meeting in this tile, this new hex. So, we just stepped in 21. We are looking at conflict. So, something is happening in this 97. Conflict with valuables. There is currently a robbery going down. There is someone being mugged. So, and to my, I believe what I want to do is introduce a faction. We have dealt with a couple of guards and a couple of the scavengers and hoo-ha. So what I want to do is make another page here for factions. We have a little NPC list, but what I truly need to do, let's use the pencil for this one. So factions. I want to impose I want to imbue some conflict in this world, some negative energy, and that energy is going to be a faction. So the conflict of valuables. There is let's say, someone wealthy getting mugged by a couple of rapscallions, and it's going to be a faction. Now, this faction, let's get a name for them. We can just think of one on the spot. The let's see, for misfortune, I used the Misfits was just a bandit camp, bandit clan, pretty simple. Let's call this the underdogs, the underdogs. Let's just do that. So the underdogs, something quite simple. So the underdogs, they are a crime syndicate. Syndicate. Yep. And then we have encountered them here. Now, I'm gonna say there is going to be a D4 amount of them. There are two of them. We encountered a small party of the underdogs, and they are, like I said, a crime syndicate. So they are robbing a couple of a couple. They're robbing a traveling couple, maybe nobles, just traveling from perhaps um, Featherwind to Greystone, whatever passed. I'm not really drawing roads here, so that's perhaps a problem. Could be in the future, so I need to maybe get on top of that. But in any event, we're assuming there's a path here to start. Now, these nobles are screaming for help. We are essentially chaotic good. So let me write that down in my character sheet too. I keep saying that, but I do not imply that. So chaotic good is not really a thing it's not really a concept in Maze Rats, but it is something to consider in RPGs in general, based on just based on my attempt at this, as this my channel is again my experiences are being logged here per video. That's fine. I always try to be a little too neat at my handwriting, but obviously my handwriting is so not terrible. But in any event, okay, let's roll. There's two of them, so they are going to be two D4s. Actually, let's do D3s. These are low life scum, and they are going to be causing trouble here in this path. So now they are trying to cause conflict with valuables. We step in and we yell at them to stop what they're doing, and I doubt they're going to stop. Are they going to stop? Probably not. The faction known as the underdogs are very chaotic. I'm going to say nearly impossible they're going to stop. So a no is a yes is below a 15. Oh, a 15. Okay, interesting. That's actually really intriguing. Very nearly impossible, and I rolled a 15. And look at that. 15 on the chart here is a barely a yes. Now, however, to translate that to from the roll to my mind, they are thinking about it. They stop, they see me, they try to recruit me. They believe perhaps the underdogs are low on staff. There's a high turnaround, high turnout. There's no, and they don't have offer insurance, and they don't have dental plan, 401k. They just looking for people. So that they look to me and they're like, "Do you want to join us and make fame and fortune?" And we're like, "No, we want you to stop mugging these innocent people." And the family are they are crying, they are helpless, and the usual. So we are going to attempt at trying to persuade them to step away. We show our weapon, and again, they stopped. They did stop in progress of stopping, and we are going to attempt to intimidate them with our pit fighter past. That gives us an extra D4, a D6 for advantage. We're rolling with this is going to be willpower related +1. So taking the top two, and considering my +1, that's a 9. And remember, I'm going with Dungeon World rules here, and as you guys can probably barely see there, I'm looking. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Yep. So a high 9 is a partial success with a setback. So what is the setback? They do stop, and they seem to be intimidated, but I need a very small setback. Let's roll on the chart here. I'm only going to do one, perhaps a descriptor. 77. Quiet. They're very quiet. Okay. We expected them to say something. We were expecting, Basil was expecting them to say something in retaliation, but they've stopped. It does not appear, which is unusual for them. They love conflict, but they appear intimidated. Here's a setback. They now know my face. They now know me, but they don't know my name. So they're going to ask. They say, "Who are you?" And should I tell them? I'm going to say, I'm going to risk. I'm going to say, "Yes, I'm Basil, and I am the protector of these lands. You harm the innocent. You harm me. Take your way and or take your wares and leave." And I'm going to say they do leave. So we avoid some conflict there through intimidation because of our role, but they have our identity now, our name and face. So our character's playing hero, chaotic good. He was willing to fight, but we did manage to save a couple of nobles. Now these nobles thank us and they appreciate it. They say they'll remember this and they'll spread our name throughout the lands as we are a hero. Though all we did was walk in and say, "Hey, don't do that," and it worked out based on the 15 roll from earlier. So it was quite positive actually. It turned out pretty well. Now, because of that, because they're rich, they're going to give us some gold. I'm going to say they're going to give us a D100 gold. Oh, 80. Let's just round down. 80 is they give us 80 gold. So we obviously very thankful. So let's say it's going to be 100. Let's see, 155. If I'm not mistaken. So 70 be 145. Yep, 155 gold. We thank them. We're not going to say no to that. And they leave on their way to, well, let's see, are they going to, 50-50, are they going to, I think, I don't remember if I mentioned if they were leaving the town of Featherwind. Are they going to, I think they're traveling, I think that it's likely they're traveling to Greystone. Yeah, Greystone, the Cathedral Greyskull. So very likely they're going to Greystone. 50. Yep, they are. That's just a standard everyday run-the-mill 50. They're going to Greystone, and that's it. They part way. We part ways. We wave goodbye, and the two criminals, the two underdogs, are out of there. They run off in fear. Now, which way did they run? That's the question. I want to know which way they ran. So with this. You don't know how badly I want to draw one of those GM apprentice cards because I think they have arrows or directions on them. They kind of do. So, but I promised myself not to use them. I'm going to say they ran southwest to create some conflict for my character. The underdogs ran southwest. Now, what's the problem there? The thing is, that's where our supposed farmhouse is. So we see that. Basil sees them running, scurrying away like rats, and we are also concerned. We're saying, well, shoot, I'm going down that path, and they just ran in that direction. What does this mean? What do the underdogs have down there? Is there a hideout, an outpost they have somewhere southwest? So, anyways, we leave this hex, and I'm going to say it was simply just more grassland, more boring old grassland, nothing exciting. And now we are another mile down the road. So we are in hex B8. What is unusual or what is interesting about B8? Let's roll two discovery meetings. 46 is going to be failure. Okay, so I need more context there. Failure 59. Mundane. There's failure of mundane. There is a bridge and there's a river. So because again we're close to the we're kind of close to an ocean. I've been debating it whether or not behind the scenes that this was a river or an ocean because there's a dock at the town of Featherwind. Featherwood's actually a pretty good name too. The Featherwind was thinking. So there's a bridge here. There's a river. I'm going to say the river crosses over like this, and we know. There we go. That's the river. So we cross over, but the thing is a failure of mundane. This is a wooden bridge. Let's write this down. So B8 has a wooden bridge. I'm writing a note, not a location of interest, because it's not really an interest yet. A wooden bridge. Now, what is the failure about this wooden bridge? Is it collapsed, perhaps? I think it's collapsed. That would make sense. Maybe there was a fire here. I'm going to go with this. There was a fire, and the bridge was wooden, and it looks burnt down. Now the river, how bad or treacherous is the river? Let's just do a 0 to 100 scale. 1 to 100. 22. Okay, it's not a very big river. We're not talking like Robin Hood Men in Tights where that guy falls in the water and says he can't swim. We're not talking that pathetic. But like this is a stream, and it almost is unnecessary. I think the failure mundane is that the bridge seems entirely pointless because this well, for vehicles for wheel wagons, horses. To I guess the bridge does make sense, but this river is not very big, not a very big river. So the bridge is collapsed. I will mention that, but it is not something that will slow us down. So the failure mundane is that the bridge is mundane, it's just a bridge, and it's collapsed. It looks like it was burnt, so there was a fire. We're not, is the fire still ongoing? I'm going to say unlikely because the other two probably crossed over too. They probably caught, well, why would they cause it? They don't know where Basil was going. I was thinking that they caused the fire themselves, but they shouldn't assume Basil was following them. They fled. They could have, but unlikely. Is the fire still burning? Unlikely. 94. So what that means is an extreme no, and I'm going to say exceptional no. So basically, not only is it not burning, but it's completely burned to ash. This bridge has been burned for so long that it's probably been a problem. It has been a problem for common travelers with wagons, wheeled uh, methods of travel to pass through here. So perhaps not many cross over here. Now, this burnt bridge could also be another hint for Maris to choose this path because the likelihood of her being followed down here without the method of transportation because of the burnt bridge is another perk for her choice of going this direction. So we walk across a river, not going to roll for that, and we get to the other side of the grounds. Now, let's roll to see if we encounter anything. Do we encounter anything after we cross a bridge? I'm going to say 50-50. That is a yes. That's a standard yes, 23. Okay, so what do we encounter? 86 is a positive. Okay, so it's nothing bad. Positive what? 70. A positive old. Something that's old but positive. It's good for us. It's something old. Is it a landmark, perhaps? I'm going to say 50-50. Is it a landmark? Ooh, it is a landmark. Okay, so it's something very old, but something very. Oh, you know what? It's a pit. So again, our character is a pit fighter. Now he sees a pit. I'm thinking of a abandoned ruins that he used to fight in, perhaps. Is this related to his backstory? 50-50. Okay, 46, it is. It took him a second, but he remembers this location. So what he finds is an abandoned ruins. A positive meaning that he used to fight here, trained here when he was young. So this is just some simple backstory. He finds abandoned ruins, basically ruins, and I'm thinking that it's called something. The site. Let's call it the site. Now the site was training grounds for wannabe warriors when they were kids. Maybe kids went here, and I'm thinking that perhaps Basil didn't have a home. He traveled a lot with maybe his mom or dad, or his dad was also a pit fighter or a criminal or etc. We don't want to go that deep, but basically he was traveling. He was an orphan. He was an orphan. Let's just say he was an orphan. Keeps it simple. He was just an orphan, and he notices this ruins the site. While he's there, he as expected, explores it. So we explore the site, and is the site now? I roll positive, not meaning what the outcome of this whole situation will be, but it's positive for him because it brings back some nostalgia. Now, when he's at the site, what does he find in general? 90 is going to be a setback. Uh-oh. Okay. 29, it's a setback. Feeble, something small, a creature. Maybe he finds a wild creature. So it's going to attack him. And I'm going to just say it is a wild, without pulling out Maze Rats, because Maze Rats has a terrific creature creation, a monster creation. Let's say it is, we don't know too much about the land. We know the land is just generally fantasy now. We haven't really touched on creatures, monsters, etc. Let's say because it's abandoned, there's skeletons. I'll throw in skeletons. But there are a total of, let's just do it a simple encounter. Two. Okay, two's you know what? Two's fine. Two feeble, weak skeletons who perhaps were killed here years ago, and these are like twos. They are nothing. Feeble. That's what I'm going off. If I'm understanding that word correctly, feeble. There are two skeletons surrounding that pop out of the ground, and he maybe recalled that yeah, there was some people died here, and you know they were never properly buried, and they died here. They weathered away. They sunk into the earth's soil, and now they're skeletons. This place is haunted. So it is perhaps I really haven't been keeping track of daytime, nighttime. Not too worried about it. But at this point, we are dealing with two skeletons. So combat. Let's do combat because I want to try combat out with my modification here. Combat. Now we have armor of 3. Did change that from the starting 6 plus 2, 8 in Maze Rats, but now it simply took away that away because it is straight on attacks, and it's based on combat from Dungeon World, where you roll between the charts between the chances, and that is the outcome. So combat is basically one set roll that encompasses both the player character and the enemy at the same time. So just take a little quick glance. I did make a video about this recently. Actually, it was my last video. So if you're wondering how it works, that's how my combat works. That's how the mod works for Maze Rats. I love Maze Rats, but I just wanted a bit more. I enjoy World of Dungeons, but it wasn't a fan of the character sheet design, so I combined the two. Now, though I will say the character sheet design is very helpful. It's a play kit, which I'm not too familiar with play kits, so that's probably why I should have shied away from it. But in any event, we're fighting two skeletons. Now, we go first. We notice them. They didn't surprise us. We go first. So I'm going to roll my attack with plus strength. I'm going to attack one of these skeletons. Let's do this one first. I'm rolling my 2d6, and that's plus 2 strength. So I'm going to pull up some combat music before we start this. Okay, I got some combat music from Tabletop Audio, which I've been using lately for at least this campaign. And I will try to keep my eye on it so it doesn't get too loud and it overshadows the entire video itself. In any event, let's attack. So rolling plus 2 strength. We are pit fighters, so we have, well, no advantage for this one. I'll just do a regular attack. Plus 2 strength. We're doing a melee. We're using our short sword. That's all we have. It's a d6 short sword against skeletons. So 4. Lower the music a bit because I saw it peak in the yellow there. Sorry, I have very low production qualities here. There we go. Now, rolled a 5 plus 2, 6, 7. So, in a 7, in my hack, that is PC hits, enemy attacks, PC armor negates damage. So, enemies don't have armor. It's based on the roll of the chart. That is essentially their armor. I'm sorry, no. Enemies do have armor. 10 plus, I apologize, they do have armor. So, I haven't really given them armor here. I'll give them 1 armor for these two. So, I was mistaken. Enemies do have armor in my hack. I'm going to roll my d6. So, to do damage, at the first skeleton, -1, and then they attack. 2, okay. So, they take 1 damage. Okay, and then they attack because I rolled in the middle. And my armor negates 3. They are let's just do a d4. 2 skeletons, he swipes at me. 4, I take 1 damage. Okay, so down to 11. There we go. Okay, then we'll do this guy right here. So, we'll roll the +2, the strength, 5. 6, 7, 8, 9. It's still a partial, so we do the same thing. We roll for attack. -1. 4. He is out, but he does get an attack in there. So red D4, which I don't think I've used before. The last one. 3. Okay, so no damage to me, but he is out. The skeleton crumbles apart. And now it's back to this one. We are going to roll +2 on this roll here. Interference, but that is okay. It is a 10. That's a 12. 12 is a critical. PC attacks, enemy armor ignored. So we're just going to call it, he's out. No damage roll needed. Okay, so we defeated the 2 skeletons. Are there any more going to spawn? Let's see. If this place is haunted, I'm going to say 50-50. Ooh, okay. 2 more spawn after defeating these 2 skeletons. 2 more crawl out of their graves. These ones are going to be a little more challenging. Let's put them up at 4. So, they crawl out of their graves, and now they're going to surround us here. Okay, so we're going to fend off this one right here. Alright, so rolling for D6. Let me write down in the notes here. Zombies sight. Not zombies, I'm so sorry. Skeletons. Skeletons at sight. There we go. Skeletons. Okay, good. I'll fix it up later. Alright. Let's roll for attack. +2 strength like before. 6, 7, 8. Ooh, 9, 10. That's a standard. So, PC attacks, enemy armor negates damage. Okay, so we roll a d6. These guys' armor are 2. We'll do half of their health. 6, so -2, that's 4. This one is crushed with my sword. Next one. This other one approaches us at a very rapid 2 miles per hour. Now, we're rolling for the turn itself. 2, okay, so +2, that's a 3, 4, 5, that's a fail. So in this one, that's our first one for today. Enemy attacks, PC miss, enemy attacks or complication, PC armor negates damage. Okay, so we'll roll a d4 for the... No, tell you what, let's do a d6. These skeletons are a little tougher. I have armor 3, -3 on this roll, 6. That is 3 damage. So we are down to now, that's going to be 9, 8, sorry, 8. 8 out of 12. Okay, so it's been slightly concerning. Okay, next move. We're going to roll. All right. +2 on this roll. That's a 6, 7, 8. Now, the modifier. That is that's a basically back and forth. So, we roll our attack. They roll up. We'll do our roll first. 3, -2, that's 1. So, they're down to 3 now. Okay, then they attack us, based on, again, my rules. I have 3 armor. 5, we take 2 damage. Okay, this is getting a little concerning. 6 now, we're halfway on health. Okay, so, now, we're getting a little worried here. So, let's think of, maybe there's an item we can use. We have rations, we have rope, a torch. We can't torch him on fire, he's dead, he's just a skeleton. We can't read in the diary, we can bore him to death. The broken silver chain. I don't know if that has any deeper meaning to it, but again, probably not. Rope. Try to perhaps tie him up, teach him a lesson, slap him silly. I'm thinking daggers. So, I'm going to attack with my daggers. For this one, what we'll do, we'll throw an advantage for daggers, and we'll choose the highest 2. Now, I could do that, but instead I'm going to roll 2 damage dice and choose the highest one. So we'll do that instead. So +2 for strength as usual. Okay, so this is good. That's an 8 and then 10. So it means I attack, but the enemy armor does negate damage. However, I'm going to roll again for 2 bolt daggers and choose the highest one. 4 -2, that's 2. Now the skeleton's back to 1. The skeleton is the last one. There's not going to be any more. We're going to do what's called a morale check. We're rolling on the character of the skeleton. Let's see if he flees. 6. Okay, he fails a morale check. He's going to try to flee. I think we're going to take him out. So he attempts to flee, and that's a fail because again he failed morale check. He can't flee. If I did that right, I feel like I did it wrong. Anyways, we're going to attack. But we'll do advantage because he's trying to flee. Let's just say that. And +2 on this roll, the highest two. Okay, that's definitely a huge hit. That is a, we're looking at 11 +2, that's 13. That is a critical. So he's out. That's it. Dead. Okay, well, actually, armor 2. Maybe not. I don't do double damage on armor, on criticals. So let's see. I could roll a 1 and he can block it. Or 2, he blocks it. Let's see what happens. I guess I didn't really say what I was using. Short sword. Let's do a dagger. 2. Okay, he blocks it. So I blocks it, misses it, whatever happens. He turns around and he's still in the fight. We're gonna roll again. Like I said, armor kind of throws a wrench in the plans there. So 4/4. That is a hit +2. That's a 8/10. That's a standard. Okay, standard conflict. Enemy armor negates damage. Okay, so I'm gonna roll my 2 daggers as usual. And then, ooh, okay, now he's obviously dead. So the 6 is the highest, the roll. And that guy has been terminated. Okay. He's been terminated. Well, zombie has been defeated. So, I'm going to pause the video and fix up my description of this hex. Okay. So, I just kind of wrote bridge, the site, skeletons, content. Simple stuff, descriptive. Now, I'm wondering, Basil has a sense that he was being watched. Now, let's roll. Was he being watched? Likely. Okay, 68. He was not being watched. Though, for some reason, I think he's just has a feeling of the skeletons themselves. So, he had a feeling he was being watched. Maybe there's an old friend, an old mentor that died here many years ago, and he feels like they were here. Maybe just fought and killed their remains, but that's just a story from their day. So, we have defeated some skeletons, and now we're on our way to the next hex before I conclude this video and conclude this evening in general. All right, before we conclude, what is this tile? How does it, southwest, let's go here. We'll go to the very bottom left, A10. Okay, let's roll for it. What is significant about this tile? 65. 65, leave. Ooh, okay, so leave. 28. Extravagant. There's something here that permits us to leave, telling us to leave. What could this mean? Something stopping. Is this like the border of a video game where you can't go past to that like fictional invisible wall? But leave extravagant. It's some extravagant. I'm thinking it's something large, something monumental in size, monumentous in size. But leave, like it feels like it wants us to turn around. I'm thinking what we just ran into wasn't the oh, I have an idea. It was indeed not the farm. There is no farm. This was all a trick. It was all a ruse by those 2 scavengers. They probably tricked us. Because again, they lied. They probably lied to us, but they tricked us. What would happen now is that we're looking at a huge tower. It is a maybe like the Leaning Tower of Pisa size type looking, but it is a large tower. One single tall building with some windows, and there's a top, like kind of like a watchtower. Oh, it's a watchtower. Ooh, even better, because again, there's a rivers here. So again, this is a watchtower. And it looks, yep, I'm gonna say that. So it's a watchtower. This is A9. I was mistaken. It not, yeah, A9. So A9. This is no grandmother's farmhouse. This is the watchtower. The watchtower being close to the haunted abandoned ruins, the site. I have a feeling we're in an area of darkness, shadows, and danger, and we walked right into it. Now, did those 2 scavengers from earlier trick us? Or did we take a wrong turn? Did we go in the wrong direction? Let's say, did they trick us? I'm going to say likely they tricked us. 49. They did trick us. And I'm thinking that is what Basil is thinking. He's thinking that those bastards, they tricked me because we're at this huge tower. But he's upset because there are, I'm going to say, it's likely, but is there someone behind us? I'm going to say very likely. 10. Oh yeah, and guess who it is? It is the 2 we dealt with earlier. It is the underdogs. The underdogs are right behind us. We're looking at this huge tower. Then again, I believe our character has never witnessed before. Perhaps this was rectified. This was built sometime after he left the ruins. Never went this far south, west. But he's never seen this tower before, and he's looking at it, and it looks huge. It's a large watchtower on the side of the waters where this river, the ocean, where this river goes out to. So it's a light tower essentially, but I'm calling it the watchtower. So I could probably put light tower perhaps just as a potential future correction. I'll put little quotes here. Light tower, watchtower. I like the watchtower better though. So we feel a dagger at our back, and it is the two underdogs from earlier, and they have a dagger, and they tell us, "Don't move, pretty boy," and that's it. That's where we're going to conclude the episode, and that's a way to end it, pretty boy. So I love this episode. I had so much fun. This was great. We did some exploration. We did a couple of combat with them, with some skeletons, and that's exactly how I intended this series to be. Not too much on the role play, some descriptions, and then a lot of the exploration mechanics. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. But some notes for myself. Our character is currently at gunpoint, dagger point, behind us with the two prior underdogs we dealt with, and they have us, and we don't know what's going on. Well, it's obviously vengeance, but we don't know what essentially this tower is in front of us. We thought it was this was grandma's house, but it's not. So where is Damaris? We don't know at this point. Maybe she's in the tower. But that's it for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I got to call tonight, but thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.